All right, we're rolling. It's Freedom Phil. What are we talking about today? I was listening to what's going on in Denmark as far as them, really handling the migrants, all these people that show up and basically are sponging off their welfare system. And I got to give a big round of applause. I mean, they're even doing stuff where, like, if you have something valued over $1,500, like jewelry or whatever, they'll confiscate it. Oh, confiscate it? Yeah, if you're living on their social welfare system and you have all this bling, And I'm thinking, God, I wish they'd do that in America. I really do. I've had some ideas how we could solve poverty really fucking quick in America. And I just thought I'd go over some of these. It's Freedom Phil, like, subscribe. Let's get into it. And hey, always turn up the video speed. Why? Because when this is uploaded later, you can just watch it quicker. That's the way I listen to pretty much everybody. And also, if you're a parent letting your kid watch my channel, you're a bad parent. It's not that I'm wrong. It's that if your kid was regurgitating some of the stuff I said at school, they'd probably call and be like, what do you mean welfare recipients should have to wear government-mandated brokey clothing? Yeah, let's get into it. Like, subscribe. I love what they're doing over there. I love the fact that they're just acknowledging that, yes, and by the way, why European social programs work is because a lot of those countries are small and homogenous. Just like in the same way that, like, you talk about people from Japan, and why even though Japan does have some poverty, why is it clean? Why do people keep it together? Because they have a homogenous, high trust culture. This is also why you see a lot of assholes, guys like Johnny Somali, going over to Asian countries and doing, the crap that they do. Like, what is it, North or is it South Korea, where Johnny Somali's getting his ass handed to him in the courts. And I think it's hilarious. But I mean, you see this kind of mentality from a lot of people from, like, broke ass countries, like, I don't know, parts of India, Africa, South America, and they show up and the attitude is, well, fuck it. Why shouldn't I take what these people have? Why shouldn't I take what these people have? Because they're dumb enough to give it to us. And you know why a lot of people will give you that money? Frankly, it's because a bunch of middle class Karens, HOA Karens, that want a virtue signal and talk about, oh, the poors. That's why. It's because they're in their gated community kind of mentality. We're Section 8. Mind you, these are the same people that will vote. If they talk about building affordable apartments, they'll try to label it as that. Or rent control. They'll try to shoot that down like nobody's business. But if you build it on the other side of town or in the next county, oh, we need to do that. More housing. And I'm all for affordable housing. But I don't think it takes the government to do it. I mean, look, a cheap piece of land and get one of those, like, fold-up houses that they sell online or an RV, and you've got affordable housing. There's no reason that we should have the crisis we have. But the idea that we have, it's like some 700 to 800,000 people in America, for instance, that are homeless, and yet you have these toxic empathy Karens and pussy beggar liberal men, including some of the Republicans, to be honest, some of the Christian people. And they're like, let all the immigrants in. And you see what's happening because Europe is not as big as America. America's a lot of space. There's jobs, there's things. So it's been spread out. The truth is, America has been dealing with this for so long that it's kind of like building an immunity to something that shouldn't be happening. But Europe, this isn't like decades or century or so, like 150 years of this. It's like in the last 20, 30 years, there's been waves of immigration over there in Europe. Then there's extreme waves. And then people are like, well, we built up this robust social system so our people would be able to, be taken care of in old age. And if we have poor families, we can help them out. And I think that's okay. If you want to do the kind of socialist thing, I generally believe the best help you can do is getting the government out of your friggin' life, making it as affordable as possible by removing so many barriers that you can just do your own thing. I mean, I do need some regulations, but just there's too much. But if you want to do that as your own country over in Europe, Great. Like same thing with the states in America. You wanna do socialist in your okay, let's see how it turns out. Let's see if you're having more crime and broken problems. But those countries had a high trust, small homogenous culture. And I love what they're doing over there in Denmark. They're like saying, hey, look, your kids are required to attend, a cultural training class for 25 hours a week. And if you refuse, you get kicked off the system. Now, I'd take it a step further. I'd just kick them out of the country. Why the hell is your whole ass family here? If you want to move to Denmark or England or America, and you want to be your country, go back to your country. You got a whole ass country that's you. Why are you showing up? And the answer is you want a free ride. Well, we got a lot of people in our own countries. Like, think about this for America for a second. We have they say 11 million. Let's not say immigrant, illegals. We have 11 million illegals. That's not immigrants. We have a lot more immigrants. And those people come legally. So I don't have a problem with them. They followed the system to come here, paid whatever fee they had to, did whatever paperwork. And, you could say, how many do we need? That could be a question. I mean, you see this in the trucking world. How often is it you see one of those videos where the guy can't even speak English? And you're just like, why the fuck is this guy driving a truck? I mean, I could see maybe working in a warehouse where he's not driving something down the road on the public streets. I could see working a forklift maybe, but even then, isn't there local people that could be doing that job at the forklift? And that's where we get into the issue. Every country should be serving its culture and its people first. So when you see the things going on in Denmark where they're like literally confiscating, like if you have over $1,500 or something like that, something of value, they might confiscate it if you're on the system, if you're an immigrant. And I love it. Because I've seen so many fucking welfare recipients in America that you'll go to a food bank and they'll be driving really nice cars. And you're like, how the fuck? And you're like, well, somebody gave that person credit. Somehow, some way, they are making money. They're doing it somehow. That's a very nice car. It might be a few years old. Oh, wait, they probably got a huge tax deduction. And then they squirrel away a little money here and there. And they're like, hey, we just spent $7,000 on a new pickup. And you're like, that's a pretty decent pickup considering that you're poor. No, I think I'd take it a step further. I got ways to solve the welfare crisis in America. I really do. For instance, there's no more wearing nice clothes. No. If you're on the system, we're going to take away some of your rights. Because we're here to help you, not give you a hammock. For instance, all the drugs and alcohol. Oh no, you ain't smoking cigarettes. You ain't drinking. I don't care how cheap it is in this particular state that I'm in. No, if you're so broke that you need the government's help to survive, then I think cigarettes and alcohol and weed. And if you get caught on any drugs, boot, you and your whole ass family are off. Well, what about the children? Oh yeah, that too. If you're reciprocating stupidness style, career bad decision maker, you're just a fuck up, we're sterilizing you. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Fuck this. Children are not some great special gift from God. I'm sorry. I don't buy that shit for a minute. Children are a product of two people bumping parts. Okay. And a lot of people that bump parts don't have their act together. If you already got like 2 or 3 kids, look, if you got 3 kids, you've already helped do your part for repopulating the culture. We don't need you, broke ass motherfucker, making more kids. And you don't like these rules, don't be on the system. Let's go to the next step. Brokies. That's what we're going to call the clothing. Brokies will be a brand that you are forced to wear. And if we catch you in some regular clothing, oh yeah, you're either going to be publicly lashed, maybe bring back Singapore style cane, Mr. Mabushi with the bamboo pole. Whoa! Ah! Gotta be great. Publicly displayed. Yeah, there'll be punishment. We'll make poverty great again. And like, what do you mean great? I mean, when poverty sucks and painful, you got to do it. You got the brokey clothing. Here's another idea. The welfare barracks. Yeah, the welfare barracks. Like those big barracks they had in World War II where they do training people. Yeah, the welfare barracks. And in that, half the week, the men and women, oh, by the way, you're gender segregated. Yes, I said the evil word segregated. Yes, you're gender segregated. You're not going to live there and be screwing your wife. You're broke. If you want to screw, you better find some time behind a bush or a bathroom or something. Fuck you. You know, the women with the young children are in this barrack over here, and the men with the teenage boys are over here. Okay? And during the day, half the week, you're learning a trade. The other half the week, you're fucking picking up garbage, rebuilding park trails. You're doing something for society. You're paying your debt to society. What about the kids? Oh, they're going to school, and they're also probably being put into trade schools. Because we need the next generation of people to know how to build a fucking house, work on a motor, do something. We don't need a bunch of, I don't care whether it's, you know, Bobby Sue or Shaniqua. I don't give a shit. White, black, what the fuck ever. I don't care. We don't need another generation of trailer trash and hood trash. You know? And this thing where you go, if you ever, like, I was a garbage man for 4 years. And I can tell you, it's ironic how some of the people that make the most trash are the brokest people I'd ever see. Why is that? Huh. Well, because, you know, you want to understand broke philosophy. Oh, yeah, cars, too. If we catch you driving something that's just too nice, oh, sorry, we're going to confiscate your car and sell it. And people are like, this sounds like fascism. Sounds like authoritarianism, I'll give you that. It kind of sounds like socialism, to be honest, like the heavy socialism. But the point is that I would love a system. I would love a system where there's a demotivator to be on the system. I'd like a system where, you know, you want to live off a government check, you're actually going to be working for it. And you notice, you know, it's just ironic because I understand they talk about the war on poverty. What is it? What is it? When the people, okay, like this food stamp thing, this EBT thing going on right now. Yeah, I believe you should give people food, but they shouldn't have a choice on what they're buying. Like, hey, beans, rice, government cheese, the basics, flour, some sugar. Like, you shouldn't be able to go in there and buy like a whole ass birthday cake. All it is a system to basically subsidize, you know, the food industry, the petroagrochemical industry. They should be getting real food. And this idea that they're, you know, you live high on the hog. You live better than the working class. The lower working class lives in a diminished state. And you'll see this. Go look up the body mass index for women and men, for that matter, that are on EBT versus working poor people. Working poor people are much, they're not perfect shape, but they're much more healthier. As where the people on EBT, they're hogs. They're huge, and I'm a big boy too. I mean, carbs, they'll make you fat. But this idea, we have an entire system that is so good, so well set up, that you got like big screen TVs, you got the newest gaming system. Look at his shoes. Look at the rims on his car or the jacked up pick 'em up truck. I don't care whether it's the tavern or the club, whether it's the ghetto or the trailer park. I don't give a shit. It's the same broke ass mentality. And these people literally purchase. This is part of the reason they purchase ridiculous food, because food becomes a status symbol, you know, when you're broke. Like going out to eat. Oh, we went out to eat at this place. When you're a broke person. The clothing you wear. And all these things that mark you as something better than you really are should be taken away if you're living on the system. So I applaud Denmark, and I think the things I've just said, as draconian as they sound, would solve the problem. And really, you want to solve the problem once and for all, you make decent male birth control. At the birth of every broke-ass child born into poverty in America, there's some mother who just didn't feel like using it. You know, I'm just saying. I mean, maybe mandatory birth control, forced birth control for women. And that's I know that sounds draconian because it is. But you want to actually solve poverty, you make it horribly uncomfortable. You make it shameful again. And you will bring back that positive form of shame. Like, you should know better. You should put forth just a little bit of effort. Because at this point, all people are really doing is as much as it takes to get by. How do I know this? I've got 5, 6 friends back up in Western Washington that all faked crazy or found some way to become, I'm disabled. And then they got their equally ghetto ass wives. I don't care whether it's the trailer park or the ghetto ass wives or ex-wives that are all on the system too. And she cranks out a kid, she gets on the system. He says, I have the hutahas, he gets on the system. And let me tell you the truth. You may look at, say someone has a little trailer. Well, he's not, like one of my friends, he has 2 kids and his fucking child support is $50 a month. He doesn't even pay that because he's disabled. They can't take away his license. He even gloats about it. You have made a system that is so broken that the poor are fatter than medieval kings. The poor dress and live better than the working class. I just told you some ways to solve it. And yes, I know. The people are like, that's evil. Oh, scary. No. What's evil is the idea that you have convinced, you've convinced so many people that they're bad people for having realistic standards. And you know the people they're going to fight the hardest? One, the fake empathetic middle class Karen Americans. And the other group that's going to fight hard against any sort of change is obvious the hogs on the system. I don't know. Like I said, welfare barracks, brokey style clothing, confiscate excess luxury wealth, all that stuff. And look how quickly people get off the system. You're like, yo, I'm not going to live like that. Watch how quickly people get a job. And you know what would be really funny about it? First and foremost, kick out all the illegals. Not the legal immigrants. I know a lot of you Democrats can't understand there's a difference. Kick out the illegals. And then look at how many jobs open up. And then institute the welfare barracks, the brokey clothing, and all that stuff. And you watch how quickly, when women, you want to know, the secret to motivating a man is pussy. The average straight man wants to get laid. And if their women are like, I'm not living in the welfare barracks. You better have some money. You better have your act together. You watch how quickly men will jump up as high as they have to. And for people that don't believe me on that, just look into history. The modern welfare problems we have today aren't even 100 years old. We made this problem. We've nurtured this problem. And you know what? When I say we, I should say voting populaces. Politicians made this problem. And honestly, it's kind of ironic because for all the people that will sit there telling you, we need to help. And they'll say the black population or, the poor population. It was never about helping them because the more strong and affluent groups get, the more they start voting conservative. Because once they start having a piece of the game, piece of the pie, piece of the business, and they've got their own business, then they're like, I don't want to pay more taxes for some motherfucker that didn't do shit. So that's why this whole welfare system was set up, is just to get people to vote Democrat. Because the Democrats, they were losing the black vote. Because people could remember they can remember fucking the Confederacy. The Confederacy became the Democrat Party. The Confederacy was the Ku Klux Klan. The Confederacy was the first anti-gun law because they were scared as hell after the Civil War of black people rising up and being like, hey, you remember when you were beating us with whips? Yeah. Look it up. That's history, And they realized, hey, all we got to do to keep these people in our pocket is just give them a little bit of money. And that became their entire system. And I know people think, oh, but we want to help the poor. You want to help the poor? You don't have the government do it. You got a church. You got private. You're an atheist? Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. You can build a food bank as an atheist. You can do all these things. You go out and work an extra shift and donate that money, or go out and buy the food yourself to guarantee that is spent on food. All these people talking, oh my God, the EBT, blah, blah, blah. All that time you're out there protesting, boy, you could have actually made enough money to go feed those people. You could solve all these problems. Housing, we could solve all these problems. But instead, you want the government to do it. So you're like, I'm on the right side of things. No, you're not. You're not. Basically, you're for stealing from other people to pay for some other people so you feel good. But mind you, if you really actually empathetically cared and all that bullshit, you would let that homeless person sleep on your couch. You would actually go and feed the people yourselves. You would be educating their children. Here's a wild one. Hey, while that mother's out at work or getting education, mother, father, whatever, why aren't you tutoring their children? Why are all you empathetic people? Why aren't you doing it? In fact, we should have an entire conversation about that sometime. I mean, that's just the truth of it. If you actually are going to pretend you care, and your version of pretending to care is just voting other people's money away, fuck that shit. Fuck all that shit. Nah. You care when that mother or father is at some night school. You're helping take care of their kids. You're tutoring them so their kids will have a better education. Oh, but that requires real effort. Just like working at a food bank, just like working at a soup kitchen, you actually have to, me? Do something? Yeah, it's the fake platitudes and the toxic empathy, and it pisses me off. But like I said earlier, you could fix all these problems if you made poverty uncomfortable again. You actually made it uncomfortable, not just like, like watching some of these fucking hogs get online and they're like, if you don't give us our welfare back, we're going to rob. And I know a lot of it's performative bullshit just to piss people off, but I don't know if a lot of broke people understand this. You need to shut that if you want to keep your system running, you need to shut that shit down today. Any fucking fat like white chick or some Shaniqua out there bitching, who gonna feed my 6 kids? Oh, we're gonna steal. You want to say something that's gonna piss off a lot of people. It's just like elections. People will start voting more to kick your ass off the system. Here's one for you. Maybe we should do your EBT based on your BMI. Hey, it seems like you weigh way too much. You don't need that much food. Wouldn't that be fucking great? But yeah, I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole. And like I said, don't let your kids watch this, But yeah, can you imagine that? I think all it would take is people being forced to wear brokies. That's it. Just brokey clothing. Government mandated brokey clothing. I think that's all it would take. The men and the women. The women be like, I am not wearing that. It would just take that. The welfare barracks would work. All of it would work. The food system. The confiscation of fucking wealth. You're not allowed to have like a really super nice car. You do that shit and you would see the welfare state would disappear overnight. And like I said earlier, you get rid of the illegals. And I know a lot of you liberals just don't know there's a difference between an illegal and illegal. You think all and your instant thought is, oh, brown people? You try to turn it into a race thing, but it's not. And by the way, no one gives a shit about race anymore. They don't. People are over that. Use that. This ain't 2015 anymore. But I applaud what Denmark's doing, and I hope the rest of the world finally just says every country should put their own people first before opening the gates. There should not be a floodgate ever opened in any country. You should have to earn the right every time to live in somebody else's country. It's their country, their culture, their land, and they have the right to look after their own people and have their own way of doing things. But I'm just kind of a cold hard bastard. So freedom Phil out. Take it easy.